Hi, so I'd like to introduce you to the MiniBrute synthesizer. First off, it's a 100% analog signal path. The oscillators, filters, VCA are all analog. This is not digitally controlled, these are all analog circuits. The MiniBrute brings the best of both worlds of vintage and modern circuitry. It brings you vintage sound quality with a modern edge. Features like our Steiner-Parker Synthicon filter is a multi-mode filter with a very unique sound quality. You will not find this on any other production synthesizers out there. Niles Steiner himself looked over our filter design, and then he gave his final stamp of approval over the sound quality of this filter. The oscillators section contains 3 standard waveforms, sawtooth, square, and triangle wave, as well as a noise generator, sub-oscillator, and external audio input so that you can process the other synths that don't sound so good through our filter. New functionality that you're going to find in ours that you're not going to find in other synthesizers is our ultra saw. You can take your single sawtooth waveform and thicken it up so it sounds like 6 sawtooth waveforms, slightly out of tune with each other. We have the standard pulse width modulation from the square wave. It can be modulated by the LFO or via envelope amount. The triangle wave has probably the most unique feature with our metalizer. It's a wave shaping circuit that creates complex harmonics onto this very pure waveform. The effects that you hear on it are similar to what you might hear with a sync sweep type of effect. This can also be modulated by the envelope amount and by the LFO. The sub-oscillator has 2 waveforms, sine and square wave. It can be shifted to be 1 octave down from the oscillator or 2 octaves down from the oscillator. This allows you to create some earth-shattering bass tones. The Steiner-Parker filter has 4 modes: low pass, band pass, high pass, and notch filtering. The resonance can be taken up into the oscillation range on all the filters, and the cutoff has a very wide frequency range. The cutoff frequency can be modulated by the envelope. The envelope has either positive or negative amount controls on it. You can also modulate the cutoff frequency via the keyboard. The keyboard tracking can go from off to 200% tracking. Two 4-stage envelopes allow you to sculpt the sound. The envelopes also have a fast or slow speed mode on them. In fast mode, the envelopes can give you super tight punchy bass sounds. In the slower mode, you can use it for longer drawn out effects and ambiances. A unique feature found on the MiniBrute is our brute factor. The brute factor folds some of the audio signal back into the input stages in the filter. The brute factor can do everything from adding a little bit of thickness and beef to the low end to enhancing the high end, or turn it up all the way and chaos will ensue. The brute factor's control works in conjunction with the cutoff and the resonance amount as well as the filter type. The MiniBrute has 2 LFOs, a dedicated vibrato LFO that has trill up, trill down, and standard sine wave modulations. You can bring in vibrato via the modulation wheel or via the aftertouch on the keyboard. The main LFO on MiniBrute is a multi-waveform LFO with a rate control that's variable from very slow modulations to the sub-audio range. The LFO has 4 modulation destinations. One is pulse width modulation and the metalizer. The other is to the pitch. Next is to filter frequency cutoff. And last is to the amplitude. Each of these modulation sources can go positive or negative. The mod wheel can be set to adjust cutoff frequency. It can bring in the vibrato, or it can bring in the LFO amount. Aftertouch can be routed to bring in the vibrato, or it can be used to open the cutoff frequency of the filter. You can transpose the keyboard using the octave select buttons. The ranges go from -1, -2, or +1 or +2 octaves from the center. The keyboard is a 25-note semi-weighted keyboard with velocity and aftertouch. Velocity and aftertouch amounts are set up via USB. The Arpeggiator on the MiniBrute has tap tempo as well as a tempo control. You can then select time division steps of that tempo. There are 6 swing settings that you can set that will alter the feel of your arpeggiations. There are 4 modes of operation in the Arpeggiator: up, down, and random. The Arpeggiator can be set to span 1 octave, 2 octaves, 3 octaves, or 4 octaves. Switching the Arpeggiator to hold will allow you to play some notes on it and walk away while it continues playing. The connectivity on the MiniBrute is unequaled. We have USB MIDI, we have standard 5-pin DIN MIDI, and we have CV gate inputs and outputs. You can use the MiniBrute as a CV gate controller for other vintage synthesizers. The MiniBrute may look small, but don't let its size and its pricing fool you. The MiniBrute features an aluminum top panel and metal bottom panel. The build quality on the MiniBrute is unmatched, especially in a product at this price range. Don't forget to check out www.arturia.com for more specifications, photos, sound examples, and links to other videos in the future.